Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are looking at a blueprint that is quite literally reshaping the entire software industry right under our feet. You see, the rules of software architecture, the absolute foundation of how we build and scale products, they've fundamentally shifted this year. We are officially moving from a world of, let's call them experimental AI features, to a pretty brutal, highly efficient reality of production-ready, AI-native platforms. If you're building software right now, the blueprint has absolutely changed. Okay, let's dive into this. The Y Combinator partners recently coined a term for what we're seeing out there, and they're calling it the SaaS apocalypse. Now, I know, it sounds like a bad sci-fi movie, but it is incredibly accurate. We're witnessing this massive structural realignment where a tiny, super-focused 5-person startup can completely outbuild and, frankly, outmaneuver a bloated legacy SaaS vendor on very specific high-value industry workflows. It is just no longer about who has the biggest engineering team. Now, it's all about who has the most efficient architecture. So, here is how we're going to unpack this complex shift layer by layer. We'll look at 1, the AI native paradigm shift, 2, the 2026 foundational tech stack, 3, AI orchestration as core logic, 4, vibe coding and LCNC development, and 5, winning with vertical micro SaaS. Starting with section 1, the AI native paradigm shift, rebuilding the core. And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast between the old way and the new way. In 2026, AI isn't just some fancy roadmap feature you casually bolt onto an existing app. No, it is a forcing function for a total architectural rebuild. We're aggressively moving away from that legacy SaaS model on the left, the one that was super feature-heavy, focused on growth at all costs, and basically treated AI like an isolated chatbot sitting in the corner. Now, we're looking at the 2026 model on the right. It is capital efficient, it's highly modular, and it's built with AI as the foundational substrate from day one. We're talking about automating entire workflows here, not just exposing isolated features. And hey, if you ever want to know where the really smart capital is flowing, just look at the Y Combinator Winter 2026 batch. A staggering 60% of the current batch is strictly AI-focused. And 28% of those are purely AI-native services, where AI is literally doing the job end-to-end. The market momentum and investor expectations are just overwhelmingly favoring platforms that are built from the ground up to support AI. Which brings us to Section 2, the 2026 Foundational Tech Stack, the dominant baseline.
All right, here's the harsh reality of 2026. Infrastructure durability now completely beats rapid feature shipping. Rebuilding the core has quietly replaced feature velocity as your main competitive advantage. The stack decisions you make in month 1 are absolutely going to haunt you or help you in year 3. Based on current founder blueprints, this right here is the dominant baseline stack. You've got Next.js on the front end for blistering speed and SEO. Your database is PostgreSQL, usually managed via serverless platforms like Neon or Supabase. You're handling payments with Stripe subscription billing API, and your transactional emails are firing through Resend or Postmark. This stack is incredibly lean, it's modular, and it scales without just burning through all your cache.
And scaling efficiently is absolutely critical, because the global SaaS market is massive right now. It grew from $408 billion in 2025 to a projected $465 billion in 2026. But listen, simply existing in a growing market isn't going to cut it anymore. Surviving this kind of growth requires systems that won't just completely break down when AI is operating at full scale. So it forces us to really pause and ask a pivotal question. Can our systems handle AI at scale, repeatedly, securely, and profitably? Because I promise you, if your infrastructure isn't durable, AI workloads will amplify every single hidden weakness in your system. Architectural inertia is literally a massive competitive liability right now. Let's look at Section 3, AI orchestration as core logic, the new engine. This is the engine room. It's where the most critical difference in 2026 software architecture actually lives. Listen to this incredible insight from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. He points out that in an AI agent-driven world, business logic actually migrates into an AI orchestration layer. Traditional SaaS, right? It used to be neatly divided into data, logic, and user interface. But AI just totally undermines that old architecture. The core logic itself is shifting. So the crucial point is that without orchestration, AI simply cannot scale operationally. Agentic AI orchestration acts as your main control plane. By using workflow automation tools like N8, this layer manages the really messy reality of AI. We're talking about handling API retries, routing, observability, all of it, And most importantly, it decouples those underlying AI models, which change incredibly fast, from your core business logic, which absolutely needs to remain stable. And because the underlying technology is changing so fast, the way we organize our humans has to change too. We're moving far away from the old model of traditional feature squads who are just handed isolated little AI tasks. The 2026 model? It reorganizes entirely around data platforms. We are seeing dedicated platform teams centered on making AI usable, safely, and repeatedly across the entire product. Honestly, data quality and operational discipline matter far more right now than just chasing model innovation. Moving to Section 4, Vibe Coding and LCNC Development, the interface. So, this is the secret to how lean, agile teams, and get this, even non-technical founders are building out this exact complex stack. It comes down to a fascinating new concept called vibe coding. Coined by AI pioneer Andre Karpathy, vibe coding is this wild, AI-driven approach where you simply describe your ideas and intended outcomes in natural language, and AI tools, think GitHub Copilot or Cursor, just generate the functional code, the interfaces, and the application logic automatically. It literally solves the blank page problem and compresses development costs by an average of 63%. And the real-world impact of this is just staggering. Gartner projects that by the end of 2026, an incredible 80% of technology products will actually be built by non-technical business professionals rather than your traditional developers. Low-code, no-code, and vibe coding platforms are entirely democratizing how SaaS is built. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer massive scale of the demographic taking advantage of this shift. In 2026, the US alone has roughly 25 to 30 million solopreneurs, and that's excluding standard gig workers. This massive solo workforce is out there leveraging vibe coding and AI agents as their digital employees. One single person can now build, launch, and scale a SaaS product that literally just a few years ago would have required an entire dedicated engineering team. Which brings us to our final layer, Section 5, Winning with Vertical Micro SaaS. The execution. Okay, so we've got the architecture, we have the logic, we have the development tools, but how do we actually deploy this and win in the market? Well, the days of broad, horizontal SaaS growth, they're mostly over. The winning strategy in 2026 is vertical micro SaaS. Buyers are just totally exhausted by generic tools that require an expensive consultant to set up. They want platforms built around the very specific daily realities of their exact industry. Whether that's healthcare compliance, agricultural logistics, or construction management. Deep industry-specific alignment is the brand new competitive moat. Let's move to and see how this builds a very specific 2026 micro SaaS playbook. Step 1, pick a niche with actual money flowing through it. Step 2, completely own a specific industry workflow end-to-end using AI. Step 3, use outcome-aligned pricing. Flat rate or usage-based pricing works best here. You need to charge for the value delivered, not just the seats filled. And finally, Step 4, build security, governance, and compliance directly into the product from day one. Because in the enterprise space, trust is a massive go-to-market differentiator. The companies that are pulling way ahead right now, they aren't just selling software anymore. They are providing measurable business outcomes. The real key differentiators include things like embedded fintech, think integrated payments or lending right inside the app. It includes incredibly proactive customer success, domain-aware AI that actually understands the user's specific daily job, and data-driven decision-making baked into the absolute foundation of the product. It's not just about flashy AI, it's about real results. So, to wrap up our structured breakdown, I really want you to remember this one golden rule. In 2026, speed with structure beats polish with delay, every single time. The math on product validation has completely changed because failing fast is now incredibly cheap, all thanks to those AI development tools we talked about. Validate your idea with a real customer first, build a highly structured, capital-efficient, minimum viable product, and then iterate like crazy. I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your current projects, your roadmaps, your infrastructure. Are you just building a legacy application with a few flashy AI features tacked on to satisfy a trend? Or are you truly ready to rebuild your foundation for the AI native era? The tools, the stack, and the blueprints are right here for the taking. The execution? Well, that's entirely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you build next.